Welcome back, beautiful people. This is the December DSAT version 2. Let's begin. Though not closely related, the hedgehog tenrecs of Madagascar share basic blank true hedgehogs, including protective spines, pointed snouts, and small body size traits, with two groups of mammals independently developed in response to equivalent roles in the respective habitats. So what word can work here? We can say they share basic features, because that's what you share. You share features, right? And it begins here, though not closely related, their features are related. The word in the beginning here, though, tells us we need a contrast. So we need a word to complete this contrast. We need a word to complete this contrast. So which word works? Well, examples. They share basic examples of true hedgehogs. I mean, you can't really share examples, can you? And they share concerns about true hedgehogs, so they're worried, right? No. Indications of, I mean, what does that even mean? They share basic similarities with true hedgehogs. So similarities here would indicate features. So we're going to go with answer D. Let's go to question number 2. Sarah Marquis, who walked 16,000 kilometers across Asia, Siberia, and Australia, undoubtedly accomplished much, but her place in our historical memory is perhaps more blank than that of noteworthy first, such as Anicia PM, who is the first female pilot in Brazil to carry passengers and the first to make stunt flights. A deed for which she will always be remembered. Okay, so what are we saying here? Well, the message of the text is saying that one person's memory, or our memory of one person, is greater than another person. Why do we say this? If you read here, Sarah Marquis, she accomplished much, but you see this word here? It shows us a contrast. So, but here indicates, well, here we have something positive. She undoubtedly accomplished much. But here, well, now we need some sort of negative. We need some sort of negative. And if we continue reading, but her place in our historical memory is perhaps more blank than the noteworthy first. So noteworthy indicates someone who is memorable. There's so many clues here to tell you what we need. Anicia, she was the first female pilot, and she will always be remembered. So we can say that Sarah is not remembered as much as Anicia, correct? So what can we say now? Her historical memory is perhaps more enduring. Well, obviously, it's not enduring. Enduring means to last. This is opposite of the message. Her memory is more uncertain. Maybe, right? Uncertain means unsure, not clear, right? And we're saying that, well, you know, Sarah, she's accomplished a lot, but not many people know her. And then conspicuous. So a lot of people might have a problem with this word, right? And so sometimes when you don't know the meaning of the word, you have to put a question mark. So you put a question mark here. And I'll show you how we're going to work this. Her memory is more deserving. Well, look at answer D. More deserving. That means we should remember Sarah more than Anicia. But why? What we're saying is they're the same, right? They both accomplished a lot. So we wouldn't say she's more deserving. So we have X here. Now look at this now. Look how we work this. Enduring X, right? Uncertain squiggly. Conspicuous question mark. Deserving X. If I'm going to now take an educated guess, because I don't know the meaning of conspicuous, my best answer would be B, because of the squiggly. Remember that the check is greater than the squiggly, which is greater than the question mark, which is greater than the X. We follow this so we can choose properly. So it is uncertain. By the way, what is the meaning of conspicuous? It means clear. So it's not, again, that her memory is clear or unclear. It's who do people first remember? And so people remember Anicia over Sarah. So it is uncertain. Let's go to question number 3. When considering which plays and musicals to produce, theaters in Miami often favor keeping audiences happy over taking risks. Look at this now. They keep audiences happy over taking risks. So, cause, effect, right? While they might be eager to produce an established classic like Crazy for You, for example, most would be blank to stage a work from a relatively unknown playwright. So it's telling us they want to keep audiences happy, and they do not want to take risks. So using or working with a work or a playwright that is unknown is a risk, right? So most would be, most would avoid. There's something like this. Most would want to avoid unknown playwrights. Unknown playwrights. So let's check our answers. Well, surprised. Surprise means something unexpected. So most would be surprised to stage a work from a relatively unknown playwright. It sounds correct, but we don't go by sound. We don't read from here. We read from here. Okay? We read from here. And so tells us we need a cause and effect. The cause, no risk. What is the effect now? No unknown playwrights. Right? That's the cause and effect. So they wouldn't be surprised. And determined means not to give up. But again, how does that fit with our conjunction, connecting word? Fortunate means lucky. We're not lucky. It's hesitant. Hesitant means to stop, think, I don't know, maybe I like it, maybe I don't like it. So most would be hesitant, right? Why would they be hesitant? Because of the cause. They want to avoid risk. Number 4. Some robots, such as Serena and Coman, are designed to resemble humans so that people will find it easier to interact with them. So they are designed to resemble humans. To that end, okay, cause and effect. Certain features, such as the ability to respond to voice commands, can help to blank people's feelings of comfort. But we're not going to stop reading, right? We need but. Contrast. A robot that looks too human can fall into the uncanny valley, meaning that its appearance unintentionally unsettles those who encounter it. So we have idea number 1. It makes people feel X. But idea number 2, people feel unsettled. And so what is the meaning of unsettled? It means uncomfortable. It means uncomfortable. So our answer is in this conjunction. So what would be the opposite of uncomfortable? Constrict. Well, again, constrict means to limit. It means to choke off. It means to bottleneck. So are we really constricting? Well, I don't think so, right? I don't think so. What about repudiate? Well, repudiate, what does it mean? It means to reject. So we're saying here that they are rejecting people's feeling of comfort. How? Then it doesn't fit the context of but. We need something to say these people feel extra comfortable. Buttress, what does this mean? It means to support. So can it support people's of comfort? Let me actually delete all of these, right? Can it support or prop up or support? Well, help to support people's feelings of comfort, but some people might feel unsettled. Yeah. Mitigate means to lessen, to lower, to decrease. Well, we're not really mitigating. So we're going to say buttress. And finally, number 5. While recent scholarship has undermined claims that the works of 12th century Islamic philosopher Ibn Rushd were blank other Muslim philosophers of his time, it is indisputable. Okay, So we have a contrast, by the way. We have a contrast right here. It is indisputable that his location in the Muslim-ruled area of what is now Spain meant that his works were primarily available thousands of miles west of the area's center of Islamic thought. Okay, look at this part. I want you to focus here. A lot of people get this wrong. While recent scholarship has undermined claims, has disproven, it has disproven claims that the works of philosopher Ibn Rushd were blank other Muslim philosophers. It is influential. So idea number one, it disputed, right, claims Ibn Rushd was blank. Idea number two, his works were everywhere. Look at the relationship, and what do we need? We need a contrast. So when you undermine the claim that Ibn Rushd was, not popular, not wise, I guess, not well known. Okay. So while recent scholarship has undermined, has disproven the claims Ibn Rushd was not well known, or let's say well liked. In the second idea, his works were available thousands of miles away. So what was undermined? That his works were controversial. So if you say that it undermines claims that Ibn Rushd was controversial among other Muslims, the second idea doesn't support that, because the second idea tells us his works were primarily available thousands of miles west. That means he was well studied. So let's say not well studied. So we know he was well studied, so it wouldn't work. A. Antagonistic toward, that means hostile or aggressive. Are we hostile? Imitated by. Now again, imitated. Well, how does the second part support that? No, we're going to say inconsequential. Inconsequential means ineffective. It means someone who had no effect or any consequence in the time period. So someone ملوش لازمة. So we undermine claims he was inconsequential. That means he was effective, right? Two negatives make a positive. And in the second part, what do we say? Well, he was studied thousands of miles away. So the second part supports he was effective. So here we're going to say answer D. Okay, so like we said before, guys, the overall structure of the text, that means it's asking us about the order of the main ideas. It's asking us about the order of the main ideas. So we have to see the order of the main ideas. That means what is main idea number one? And then what is main idea number two? And then what is main idea number three? Okay, so we're looking for the order of main ideas. And so when we read through, community science, which involves professional scientists, okay, I'm going to skip this, is often an effective and engaging way to conduct research. It can allow people to assist with conservation efforts, spark youth interest in science, and increase the amount of data researchers can collect. The approach was essential to the success of a study by biologist Abigail Merrill and colleagues of how butterfly color relates to flower choice, which included findings from hundreds of students and community members. So we read the three ideas. Now we're looking in the answer choices. It has to show us that same flow. Look at answer A. It introduces the topic of a scientific study. No, it does not. Does it introduce the topic of a scientific study? No. The topic of a scientific study comes here in the end, not in the beginning, not in idea number one. A is incorrect. B, it identifies a particular approach to research. Do we do that? Yes, this is a particular approach, community science, how something is done. List some benefits of that approach. Do we have benefits? It does. It allows people to assist, spark interest, and increases data. These are benefits. And then mentions a study in which the approach was used. Do we mention a study? We do, by Abigail Merrill. This is the study of butterflies. Our answer is answer B. Let's look at answer C. It argues for a new approach. No, it does not. Nowhere do we say we need something new. Eliminate it. Answer D. It describes the development of a type of scientific collaboration. So to describe the development means how something was done, how it worked from beginning until the end. And we don't have the development. We have a definition. We don't have a development. So answer D is incorrect. Here we're going to go with answer B. Question number 7. So question number 7 is asking us, the author of text 1 and the author of text 2 would most likely give the same answer to which question? So it's giving you a question as an answer. Very simply, if you read the question, go to text 1, see if you can answer it. Go to text 2, see if you can answer it. If both of them can answer the question, then you're good. If they cannot, then you are not good. Should I read the text before I do so? Yeah, sure. Right? Yeah, sure. But let's check out here. Did he and colleagues study effectively exclude any nutrient pathway other than a CMN? Well, if you look here, I think it's right here. Mang and colleagues excluded all pathways other than the CMN. Okay? Other than the CMN. Well, actually, let me begin here. Okay, so here it tells us a crucial step he and colleagues did not take. So, did he and colleagues study effectively exclude any nutrient pathways? Text 1? No. Okay, let's check text 2. Does text 2 answer the question? Meg and colleagues took the necessary precaution of separating the plant's root system, thereby excluding root-to-root transmission. However, any barrier used must allow the thread-like hyphae of CMN to pass through. Thus, the researchers' experimental design cannot ensure that any nutrient transfer observed can be attributed. Text number 2, the answer is not available. Text number 2 does not discuss he. Answer A is incorrect. Text 1 discusses Lingbo Meng and Hinhua He. Text number 2 only discusses Meng, does not discuss he, so it does not answer that question. Look at answer B. Are the barriers used in Meng and colleagues' study sufficient to ensure that nutrient transfer can only occur via CMN? Okay. Are the barriers efficient? Well, again, if you look at A, Meng and colleagues excluded all pathways other than CMN by using barriers to keep the plant's root system separate while allowing mycorrhizal strands through, a crucial step he did not take. So, are they sufficient to ensure the nutrient transfer can only occur via CMN? Well, technically speaking, in text number 1, we actually don't know if it's sufficient. They excluded all pathways, but are they sufficient? We actually don't know this in text number 1. In text number 2, no. Right? Because here it tells us that the barrier used must allow the thread-like hyphae of CMN to pass through, and this permeability would also allow liquids through. Thus, the researchers' experimental design cannot ensure that any nutrient transfer observed can be attributed to CMN. So text 2 actually tells us if it's sufficient or not. Text 1 does not tell us sufficiency. We don't know. We know Meng used it, but we don't know if it was sufficient. A is wrong. B. Is there an available barrier material that can block roots in liquids while allowing fungal strands through? Text 1 does not answer this. Text 2, well, we don't know also. Is there an available barrier material that can block, right? Because text 2, it says the CMN, the fungi, yes, the threads can go through, but still liquids can go through as well. So we actually don't know. D. Do plants that transfer nutrients through root-to-root pathways also transmit nutrients via CMN? Text 1, yes. Text 2, yes. Okay. Now, why? Now, again, do plants that transfer nutrients through root-to-root pathways also transmit nutrients via CMN? Well, again, if you look at the text, right, they wanted to examine whether plants transfer nutrients to one another using a CMN or not. Okay, and CMN or not. So they excluded all pathways other than CMN by using barriers to keep the plant root system separate while allowing the mycorrhizal strands through. So they had to separate the root system from the CMN. Why? To see if it's only through CMN or other things. So now we can understand that yes, nutrient transfer occurs through roots and CMN. And text 2. Now again, they took the necessary precaution of separating the plant's root system, thereby excluding root-to-root transmission. Now again, this infers or implies that the roots and the CMN both transfer nutrients. Okay? Both transfer nutrients. So here we're going to say answer D. Question number 8. This is a hard one, right? So it's asking us about a potential drawback of Hidalgo and colleagues' method. If you go to the text, it very clearly tells you the drawback, right? This approach, this is the method, we're talking about Hidalgo's method, has some limits. And so what is the limit? Data from Places API tend to be restricted to places that are customer facing. But the data set nonetheless provides an extremely reliable source to study collocation patterns of neighborhood amenities. Okay, so like I was saying, if you have restricted data, that means you have limited access. So let me give you an example, right? I go on Google right now and I search for the best restaurants. Google gives me 10 results. But I know for a fact there are actually 1,000 best restaurants around me. Google only gives me 10. This is restricted data. This is limited data. So if you're basing a judgment on limited data, that means that judgment will be incomplete. It would be insufficient. It would be not enough. And so we have to connect this to an answer. And the best answer is answer A. It may lead to conclusions that are not reflective of all the amenities in the given neighborhood. Again, if I'm looking for restaurants around me, I have 1,000 restaurants around me. I go on Google and Google only gives me 10. This is restricted data. And so this 10 is not reflective of all of the restaurants around me. It's not accurate information. If you look at the other answers, it is likely to contribute to inaccurate identifications of the boundaries of specific neighborhoods. Well, no, the focus is about the amenities there and the limited or restricted data around amenities. Amenities means restaurants, bars, whatever, right? So, no, right? B, it is based on recent advancements from other fields that have yet to be applied outside of those contexts. Off topic, it's unrelated. Answer D, it depends upon data that are likely to be outdated. No, the data is restricted, not outdated. So it's different things. So here we're going to say answer A. Okay, so here's asking us, what did E and M find and why does that occur? So this is basically a direct comprehension question. This is a direct comprehension question. So let's read through first and understand the ideas. So this question is a direct comprehension question, right? So let's find out why. Let's read this together. V and G, I know these names are complex and we do respect everyone's culture and names. However, for simplicity, I always tell my students no matter what, just read the first letters and move on, right? Show that high moonlight intensity inhibits the activity of a greater short-nosed fruit bat. a finding explicable in terms of benefits and costs, right? So moonlight, let's say this ML, high moonlight, no good, cost benefit. Greater lunar intensity may not enable the bats to increase foraging success enough to offset the higher chance of detection by predatory owls or hawks. So the cost is more than the benefit. Okay, so high moonlight, no good, cost greater than benefit. No food versus owls. You see these quick notes? Though many other nocturnal animals respond to lunar intensity variations similarly to great short-nosed fruit bats, mongoose lemurs display the opposite patterns, as their heavy reliance on visual foraging results in a different balance of reward and risk. So now we can say the mongoose opposite cost is less than benefit. Why? Because they need the light. Okay, they need the light. So let's check our answers now. Greater short-nosed fruit bats tend to be more active during periods of high lunar intensity than at other times. No, actually, they don't. It's not greater activity. We should, but it doesn't increase their success of finding food. So no, answer A is opposite to the text. Answer B, G, S, and fruit bats reduce their activity during periods of high lunar intensity because predators can more easily spot the bats in brighter conditions. And such conditions do not benefit the bats enough to justify that risk. Yes, right? High moonlight, no good. The cost is greater than the benefit. What is the cost? Exposed in the light, being exposed to the owls. What is the benefit? Well, the benefit means they should find more food, but they don't find more food. So answer A, B is the answer. Let's check out answer C. Very popular answers. During periods of high lunar intensity, G, S, and fruit bats. Yeah, you see how I'm not going to keep reading a greater short. No. G, S, N. Learn to do this. Fruit bats reduce their activity. Okay. Because it is easier for predators to detect the bats in relatively bright conditions than it is for predators to detect mongoose lemurs? No. It's not easier to detect them than mongoose lemurs. There's no comparison there in detection. We compare the mongoose to the bat to show a different reaction. The bat, no good, but the mongoose, good. The bat, the cost is greater than the benefit, but the mongoose, the cost is less than the benefit, or the benefit is greater than the cost. So we're not saying that they can detect the bat more than the mongoose. No. It's never stated there at all. It's never stated there at all. Let's go to answer D. A little bug there. I got to fix that too. During periods of high lunar intensity, mongoose lemurs, okay, show a different behavioral response than the GSN fruit bats, okay? And many other nocturnal animals do because the risks to the mongoose lemurs are greater. No, the risks to the mongoose lemurs are less. It's not greater. So here we're going to go with answer B. Question number 10. What would the author most likely disagree with? Okay. Disagree with. So which one is no good? If you read the text, okay, hyperpop, a movement in electronic music, aggressively manipulate the recorded voice. It shifts the pitch of the vocals, okay, to be higher. And even the hyperpop artists who don't rely on pitch shifting, such as Shy Girl, often distort their vocals using digital tools. Rather than being an arbitrary stylistic choice, hyperpop's persistent modification of the voice functions as a commentary on how digital technology mediates human experiences today. It is how digital technology affects the human experience, how it well, A for action, affects the human experience, right? So if you look at that, which one would the author disagree with? It is an aesthetic feature that has little or no social import, right? My answer is A. It has social importance. Why? Because it tells us, it shows how digital technology affects our human experience with hyperpop. It confirms hyperpop's ability to offset certain negative effects of digital technology. I mean, would the author disagree with this? It confirms, so it doesn't confirm hyperpop's ability to offset certain we don't really discuss certain negative effects of digital technology, so this is unsupported. Remember, disagree means what? It means that it is a text or information that goes against the claim, not just anything wrong or whatever. So answer B is no good, right? C, it is a symbol of the influence the hyperpop exerts on listeners' sense of self. Again, would the author disagree with? Is there something here that goes against this statement? Right? No, it's unsupported as well. It represents changes to human experience brought about by technology. This is supported, so the author wouldn't disagree with this. So answer D is supported, and it's in the text, and it's actually the claim. So here we're going to go with answer A. Okay, so here question number 11 is asking us about the narrator expresses mixed feelings. So you're looking for an answer that shows mixed feelings between two things. The only answer that has mixed feelings is answer C. I'm really getting quite fond. He's loving the big room, but that ugly hall wallpaper. So he's saying, or she's saying, he or she, right? I guess Charlotte, the narrator, I don't know. Um, it, that he or she likes it, but except one thing. This is mixed feelings. Now, international students will say, well, I don't know the meaning of fond. I don't know the meaning of horrid. So then what does that mean? You check your other answers. So A would be wrong, no mixed feelings, easy to understand. B would be wrong, no mixed feelings. C would be a question mark. D would be wrong. So you're left with a question mark as the answer, although you're not very sure about it. Question number 12 is asking us to complete the data or complete the text. And here, the energy expense of exploiting full speed capacity can disfavor such a strategy, even in escape context, as evidenced by. So you want to show maximal speed is not preferable. Right. And check answers here. Most lizard species use about the same percentage of their maximal speed than when escaping predation as they do pursuing prey. This is actually not true because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, right? It's not most lizard species, very general one there. So that's a problem there. So we're going to go with answer B. This is the correct answer. Multiple lizard species move at an average of less than 90% of their maximal speed while escaping predation. And this shows us it's not favored. What does not favored mean? It is not the number one option. And so you're going to find 8 go less than maximal speed versus 8. So here it's multiple. This makes sense. It shows us that lizards don't always choose this strategy. Answer C is incorrect because it's comparing the total of maximal speed versus not using maximal speed. But here we have 8 and 8, so it's not more. Nothing is more, they're equal. And here, at least 4 lizard species use on average less than 100% of their maximal speed while pursuing prey. Now, although this could be true, right? We have 2, 3, 4, we have 8. So at least 4 lizard species. This could be true, however. But the problem here is it doesn't complete the text. The text is trying to show us, well, why is it disfavored? Right? What makes it disfavored? So here we're going to go with answer B. Number 50. Beautiful people. I can tell you right now, number 15 is a modifying issue or modifying phrase. Right here. Woven from recycled yarn and hand tufted using a carpet weaving technique passed down by the artist's Turkish grandmother. This is a participle. This is a participle. This whole phrase is a modifier. This whole phrase is a modifier. When you have a modifying phrase followed by a comma and a blank, make sure you check subject and verb. The subject needs to be the subject of the modifier, meaning what was woven. So now we check our answers. The topological tapestries, was this woven? Maybe. The Argentine textile artist, Alexandra Kihoglu. This is adjective, 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 adjective. This is the noun. So this is the subject. So can the artist Alexandra be woven? No. Answer C. Okay, now again, we have a dependent clause, so we're going to ignore this. Argentine textile artist Alexandra, she was woven? No. And then answer D, Alexandra K, was she woven? No. Our answer is A, woven from recycled yarn. What was woven from recycled yarn? The topological tapestries. We're going to say answer A. Number 16. The editors of Home Ground, A Guide to the American Landscape, turned to the blank to craft the entry about muskeg, a term referring to terrain containing peat bogs and stunted trees. Now, do you see the answer choices? Please remember this. Job plus name equals no punctuation. Job or title? It could be a job or it could be a title. Okay, title or job plus name equals no punctuation. The best answer here is D, the title or job, I guess, plus names. Please remember this answer is D. The other answers are fragments, right? Here we have an adjective, comma, noun, fragment. Here we have an adjective, comma, noun, fragment. Here we have nothing, but then we have a subject, comma, and then the rest of the phrase, right? To craft, infinitive verb, fragment. So here we're going to go with answer D. Number 17. Featured in The New Woman Behind the Camera is a photograph taken by Alma blank. Self-portrait. Levinson's image contributes to the exhibition goal of showcasing the diverse, innovative, often aesthetically daring work. Look at this. This here, if you look at the answers, is a punctuation question. Here we have a period, nothing, comma, and. Idea number 1, featured in The New Woman is a photograph taken in 1932 by Alma. This is an independent idea. Levinson's image contributes to the exhibition's goal of showcasing the diverse This is an independent idea. We have 2 independent ideas. How do we divide them? With a period, answer A. You could period or semicolon or comma, fanboys, or even a dash, right? These will all work. B is a run-on. C, comma, splice, independent, comma, independent. D is a run-on. So here we're going to say answer A. Number 18. It's from a book. Cool. Look at the answers. Underlies, is, underlying, underlie, has been. All of these are verbs. All of these are in the present. And if they are in the present, what do? We check for subject, verb, agreement. We check for subject, verb, agreement. Commercialization of human feeling. Okay. Sociologist Arlie Russell first explored at length her conception of sociology of emotions, the idea that the various cultural and ideological frameworks a person has internalized blank each emotional reaction. Okay, now look at this. Please focus on the relative clause. Please focus on the relative clause. What is the relative clause? That, which, or who. Relative clauses have their own subject and verb. So here, look, that the various cultural and ideological frameworks a person has internalized. First of all, people are going to say this is a verb. No, a person has internalized, okay? This is actually an adjective clause. It describes the previous information. So going back, the various cultural and ideological frameworks. This is the subject, plural. Underlie, answer C, plural. Another way you can solve this, ask yourself, well, what is underlying each emotional reaction? Cultural and ideological frameworks. If you tell me answer, the idea is the subject, it would be incorrect punctuation. So here we're going to go with answer C. Number 19. Photographer MS has reached audiences well beyond her home country of Slovakia. 2021, her work was featured at GL in blank. The exhibited photographs, overexposed tones, and mirror-like symmetry captivated audiences. Her work was featured. We have an independent idea. The exhibited photographs captivated audiences, independent idea. We have two independent ideas. What do we use to divide them? Can we use a double comma? Can we say independent, double comma, independent? No. Can we say independent, comma, independent, even if there's a transition? No. Can we use a semicolon? Yes and yes. So now we have answer C or D. What's our next steps? Let me do this. Let me cross these out. Now we have answer C or D. Now, if you look at answer C, we have an independent, semicolon, transition, comma, independent. If you look at D, you have independent, comma, transition, semicolon, independent. What is the difference? The first one combines or compares idea number one. Let me actually bust out some colors now. So let's say idea one is in yellow. Idea two is green. And idea three, let's make it blue. Okay, so these are the three colors. So if we say answer C, we're giving an example. We're giving an example between idea two and idea three. So idea two, idea three. But if you look at answer D, now you give an example of idea one and idea two. One and two. So here, in her work was featured at GL in Canada. Is this an example of idea one? It is. Because her work has reached audiences well beyond her home country. And then they give an example about her work being featured in Canada. So now here we're giving an example between one and two, not two and three. So here we're going to say answer D. Number 20. In 2003, a study led by Allison investigated the relationship between grassland arthropod populations and agricultural ? Macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, such fertilizers boost the productivity of crops, potentially offering more. They boost productivity of crops. Look at this. A study led by Allison investigated the relationship, okay, macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassiums, such fertilizers boost the productivity of crops. We have two independent ideas. Now, again, how can we combine two complete ideas? Look at answer A. Well, answer A doesn't fix anything. We have independent, comma, dependent, okay? We still have another comma independent, still a comma splice. And answer D, again, we haven't done anything. Answer D, we have independent, comma. This is dependent, comma, independent. Still wrong. Answer C is a run-on. Answer is D. Independent idea, period. Dependent idea, comma, independent idea. So we're going to go with answer D. Number 21. Number 21. Okay. The world's first airplane, the 1903 Wright Flyer, was not very aerodynamic, as evidenced by its low lift to drag ratio of 8.3 to 1. Okay. So it's not very aerodynamic. The Northrop F5 jet, like most modern aircraft, is far from aerodynamic. Okay, so Northrop is far from aerodynamic. Its lift to drag ratio is more than twice that of the Wright Flyer. So I want you to see here, the last sentence is an example of it not being aerodynamic. It's given us examples, given us details. We're going to go specifically. In conclusion, shows a final result, however, shows opposite ideas, nevertheless, also shows opposite ideas. We're going to say answer A. Number 22. With many elements like osmium, scientists were able to isolate a relatively pure sample of the substance shortly after discovering its existence. So scientists, they found a sample after its existence, blank. This wasn't the case with all elements. The process of isolating magnesium, for example, took 53 years to be precise. I have to fix that. So I want you guys to see here now, it's telling us an exception. All right, idea number 1. It was discovered shortly after. Idea number 2, an exception. Why? This wasn't the case with all elements. And then idea number 3, it gives us an example of the exception. So in other words, it's like a summary, and we don't have a summary. For this reason, is cause and effect. No, granted. When you say granted, you are giving an exception. When you're saying granted, you're giving an exception. Here we're going to say answer C. Number 23. Modernista architects champion nature in their designs. Okay. Question mark. The dramatic archways and bird-themed mosaics of Casa Leo Morera, a modernista private home designed by LDI, couldn't exactly grow in a forest. Still, one sees natural influences in DIM penchant. Okay. I wouldn't say thus because this shows cause and effect. We don't have a cause and effect here. And furthermore, it's too early because a furthermore is a sort of a second example. Similarly is equal ideas, right? I wouldn't say that either. We'd say of course. And so of course works because we are emphasizing a sentence. We are emphasizing the previous information. How do we emphasize? We champion nature. How did we champion nature? So now we're giving more emphasis on it. So here we're going to say answer A. Number 24. Before the first railroads were built in Australia, engineers warned against using multiple track widths across the continent. Okay. Cool. Question mark. Regional officials couldn't agree on a single width system. So here, they warned against using multiple track widths. So don't use multiple widths. Regional officials couldn't agree on a single width. So do not use, but no agreement. Right? So we're not going to say in other words again, it means a summary. Similarly means an equal situation. That doesn't work. For this reason, well, unfortunately, for this reason, now we need to say why we're using single with. Nevertheless, because this is a contrast. It's saying, hey, don't do this, but we're not agreeing. So we have to do this. All right? And you can find it here. Thus, this is the result. One railway used wide tracks, another railway used narrow tracks. So here we're going to say answer D. Number 25. Legislators in Ethiopia are elected via a first-past-the-post electoral system. In this winner-take-all voting system, the seat is awarded to the candidate who receives not a majority, but a plurality, the greatest number of votes. Okay, cool. Question mark. If several popular candidates are vying for the same seat, it is possible for a candidate to win an election despite receiving less than 50%. So these ideas, they agree with each other. They agree with each other, right? So I wouldn't say however. Moreover, accordingly, similarly. I wouldn't say similar. However is opposite ideas. Similarly is an equal situation. These wouldn't work. Moreover, accordingly. Now, moreover means we're adding new information. But I see this more as an example. So we can say accordingly. Accordingly means cause and effect because of the situation. So accordingly is like because of this, this can happen. So here we're going to say answer C. Number 26. So number 26 and 27, we don't have to read the notes. We only read the notes when what? We have two equal situations. So look at this. The student wants to emphasize the 2020 population of Waslingo. Okay. Where do we have the population? Answer C. Had a population of 12,766. Nothing else. Now, answer D. Home to 12,779 people, the governmental region was responsible for providing traffic control to the population in 2010. Now, here's the problem, okay? The emphasis here is on the governmental region, not the number of people. This is dependent, this is independent. So the emphasis is on this. That's why it's wrong, although it mentions population. We want to emphasize the population, nothing else. And finally, number 27. Which uses information from the given sentences to make and support a generalization about symbols on flags. So generalization about symbols on flags means it's everywhere. You can see it everywhere. And the only one to do that is answer D. The flags of some countries include symbols of landforms, and here we have symbols on flags. Slovakia, for example, includes the Tatra, Matra, and Fatra mountains. So here we're going to say answer D. Nothing else generalizes. So this was module 2 of December version 2. You can learn anything. Mr. Sema out.